I just have to tell you how much fun we have been having in Eastern Turkey. And I would just really like to introduce everybody on our mailing list to Chris McKinley. What expert in Noah's Ark this gentleman is. And I want to share with you some very exciting video that he just made for us here at one of the sites, potentially for where Noah's Ark landed. But he's also going to give you a little interesting additional information on, could this be the site also where Noah built the ark, and is it resting on the mountain that the biblical narrative actually states that it is? So anyway, listen to this video. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, what is the evidence that Noah was living here?
So one of the pieces of evidence that I do believe Ron White did actually find was high-tech forge slag in what would have been the rear end of the ark, that he would not have needed to have brought with him. Now, Wyatt, believing this to be the ark, said that he might have used it as ballast. I, believing this to be the build site, believe that he would have just left it behind. Why bring the slag? He's got the bars, he's got the cages made. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, there's existence of a metal forge. They dug it out of the ground. He found it with a metal detector. And then the scientists at Los Alamos who studied this said that the alloys that was made from, or that was a byproduct of the slag, the leftovers. It was too high tech. In other words, it must have been from a crashed satellite if it was found at this location. That's the words they used, crashed satellite, because the metal was something that, according to the evolutionary worldview, they wouldn't have had back in those days, right? But we believe, as Bible-believing Christians, that Noah had access to high technology, right? He had studied from Tubal Cain. They were that much closer to the divine spark of creation. They were super smart back then. Of course he could build high-tech alloys. Another piece of evidence that this might be the construction site would be the fact that there is actually evidence of what could be a pre-flood river that seems to be still a little bit of a stream down there. Noah would have needed a water-powered sawmill, I believe. So there's at least a hint that this could have been his homestead. Besides the writings of, Hippolytus and Ephraim and Clement, and also one of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which says that God spoke to him specifically about a place to go and build the ark. So God gave him the location of where to build it. So nothing that you can, pin down and say that's definitely it, but you put a lot of pieces together, and this seems to be exactly, at least in the cross pattern, where Clement said that it should be. And Hippolytus says that it was south of the mountain. This is south of the mountain.
Where he set it up, where he set up.
Yeah, and it's on an extended arm of the mountain. We're elevated here. We're on an extended arm of Mount Ararat. That's another thing that lines up with what Hippolytus said. He says that it was within a 3 days walk of a certain cave on Mount Ararat. This is definitely within a 3 days walk. So we have some good evidence that this could actually be the construction site of Noah's Ark. The purpose of the anchors was simply to stabilize the ark during the flood. During the flood, it wasn't just hurricanes, it was hypercanes. Just massive hypercanes and massive tidal waves. So even though the ark was already built to such dimensions where it's virtually uncapsizable, the additional stabilization would have kept it from tipping over or rocking too much, even in massive tidal waves. Now, there's 5 different flood legends that I've counted personally that make reference to straps or cables that were attached to the ark. What would they have been attached to? Well, of course, drogue stones or sea anchors, or what we saw earlier at the Village of Eight, the anchor stones. I don't think it's controversial. I think that it just makes sense. Now, according to the writings of the church fathers, Noah's Ark traveled in the pattern of a cross. When I first came across this quote by Hippolytus of Rome, I said, that sounds flaky, right? I mean, like, that sounds something that's totally flaky. But Hippolytus isn't known for being flaky. He was known for discernment and biblical theology. He wouldn't have just said that the ark traveled in the form of a cross, and it actually did. So this is what started my hunt for this cross pattern. I contacted someone, actually Andrew Jones, who has popularized the Dirupinar site, and asked him, where is the majority of the anchor stones located? And he said, the village of 8. So I took the point of what I believe to be the construction site. I took the point of what I believe to be the landing site, which is actually visible on Google Earth, the landing site. The lower section as of 2015, the upper section as of 2021, you can see the opening. The opening of the lower section is 82 feet wide, 52 feet high. That's 50 cubits by 30 cubits. The upper section measures the exact same as of the 2021 images on Google Earth, just up from the lower section. Also 82 feet wide, 52 feet high. The upper section, you can actually see the top 2 decks, the third deck and the middle deck, with deck timbers sticking out with snow on them, okay? So we've got 2 points of the cross established. You add in the village of 8, that would have been the base of the cross. So Dirupinar would have been the southern arm of the cross. Ararat would have been the northern arm of the cross. So we've got the southern point, we got the northern point. The anchor stones were dropped in the western portion of the cross, at the base of the cross. And then in the middle is a diamond-shaped stone, 15 feet in diameter, pointing north, south, east, west. All right, perfect. In line with it is a directional marker, a row of stones, 40 feet by 60 feet. Perfectly in line with the Dirupinar site, the center diamond-shaped stone, and the landing site on the top of Mount Ararat in the Ahura Gorge that I just described earlier. As far as with the 2 sections broken in half, Ed Davis, 1946, saw the 2 sections, said that you could look into them and actually see the decks. He said that that they were separated from each other, that it had been broken. That bears out with the Google Earth imagery as of 2021 of the upper section. You can actually see the top deck and the middle deck. So we've got the southern portion arm of the cross, we've got the northern arm of the cross, okay? The base of the cross is in the west, the top of the cross is in the east, where there are, at least what I could see, looks like 3 anchor stones perfectly where they should be, with 2 directional markers pointing at them. Noah's Ark traveled in the form of a cross. Now, we know that Noah's Ark was the salvation of humanity, right? It was how we survived the flood. Every single one of us is related to Noah. Every single one of us, we're all cousins, right? There's only one race, the human race. So we know that the cross is a type and shadow of the coming salvation, the coming cross of Christ, right? We know that we can only be saved if we enter through the one door, Jesus Christ, into the ark of salvation, right? What he did on that cross was he provided salvation for the entire human race to whoever would simply repent and believe the gospel, okay? So God, in his perfect artistry, programmed the very plan of salvation into the movements of the ark. We see in Genesis that it says that the ark moved about on the face of the waters. We just need to dig a little deeper into church history, find out that Clement, the disciple of Peter, must have been told by Peter that how it moved about on the waters was in the shape of a cross. So God foreshadowed the coming cross of Christ in the travels of Noah's Ark.